Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors and Winston Chester. I'm really glad you're here on this Monday morning. Got a big week planned on Panhandle Outdoors. Got a special guest today. You're going to really enjoy today's show. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. It looks like, I was talking to my guest earlier, it looks like we're just going to skip fall because high today is going to be 73 and low tonight 63. So that's not much of a cool weather. Had a little cool blast over the weekend, but we're looks like back into a normal temperature. So hopefully, and I always gauge it by the football game. Seems like you always have in high school, always have a couple of Friday nights where it's cool and the fall is in the air. But this football season, this past season, is just, we never had that cool night really to speak of. So nothing we can do about it, we just press on. But our water temperature now has dropped 1 more degree down to 73 degrees, so maybe that's the beginning of the drop. Let's take a look at our Monday moon forecast. Checking it out, it looks like we're in a quarter moon today. We got a half moon coming up this weekend. Our full moon, folks, is going to be next Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. Hard to believe we're a little bit over a week and a half away from Thanksgiving, but it's right around the corner. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Looking at today, November 16th on the screen. Still good strong tides. We have a low tide at 10:11 this morning and a high tide at 12:05 right after midnight. So we have that incoming tide coming in. Marine forecast looks like we got an east wind about 12 miles an hour coming out of the east. All right, we're going to take our break. We'll be right back with our guest. All right, welcome back and welcome to a familiar face here on Panhandle Outdoors, Captain Justin Leake.
Coach, great to be here again.
Always good to have Justin on. He's so good about it. He and Matt to fill in for me at a drop of a hat.
We'd love to.
That last time, I really appreciate y'all taking the show. You do such a good job.
Well, sure thing. I appreciate it.
Panama City Inshore.
That's right. That's right. We got a group of guides here locally, Panama City Inshore, and that's going well. And I personally couldn't have asked for anything more to add to this guide business that we have now.
Yeah.
But then this new show came along.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Before we get a new show, though, let's talk about you had to do some soul searching to start business because you went to and got a degree in
in landscape design.
Landscape design. Your dad was in the landscape business. I know the family. We've known him since Justin was little, and you had a great job.
Oh yeah,
and,
I did.
You did some soul searching, and you just had a love and passion for fishing, and
that's it.
We really went out on a limb.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wife and kids and everything, and
and to some extent that probably helped us be successful, and me personally, because it wasn't one of those things where you could try it out and hopefully it works. It's one of those things that I knew going in I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of nights, watching the sun come up, sitting behind a computer. I was not real computer savvy. This was in the internet explosion time, and none of us were at that time. But I sat behind that computer and watched enough videos to figure out how to advertise and build a website and all that. And I was really, I had to make it work, and we worked really hard at it, and I got some great guys that work with me, like Matt,
Well, it's been a great success story. I've loved following you from the very foundation of, actually the idea of it. I mean, we talked about it and all, and we were all for you doing it, but we were all a little apprehensive and tentative at the time. But, you've done such a great job, and you've got a great customer base now.
We do.
And
we've been very blessed. Let me just say, we put a lot of time and effort into it, but it's one of those things that we didn't do it all ourselves. We've been very blessed for it all to work out how it has, and we're very thankful for that. And like I said, it's not just something that I did either. There's actually 5 of us now, and we all pitch in, we all work at it.
Yeah.
And
so name your captains. You got
we got me and Matt Smith. We got Todd Jones and Chris Spain, which are both retired Navy divers, and then Steve Bachman. And we all have our own little niche and cover our different areas. Anything from fly fishing on the flats, which me and Steve do a lot of, and then we do a lot of live bait fishing in the bay. Matt kind of specializes in that. Chris and Todd both tend to stay offshore more, or fishing state waters. We all have multiple boats we use. A lot of us have a center console that will fish live baiting and fish out in the Gulf, snapper fish, kingfish, stuff like that. And then we got smaller flat skiffs that we'll fish on the flats with. So we have set our business up to be extremely versatile.
Yeah.
if somebody wants to fish in less than a foot of water, sight fishing redfish, we got some of our guides that have the tackle, the boats, the equipment set up just for that. You know, but if somebody wants to go out in the Gulf and snapper fish, and we got boats and tackle and a guide that's set up just for that. So we've set it up like that on purpose to be versatile and really be able to supply every client with the type of trip they're really looking for.
And you cover all those niches, which is so good. I know I don't know if you're still doing it. One time y'all were, I know you always loved duck hunting.
Oh yeah, we do.
Y'all still doing that?
Certainly. Matter of fact, Todd Jones is our duck specialist.
Okay.
I mean, you ought to see the boat that he's got. This is the only one in Panama City like this.
What's
it's
he
called
got?
a duck water. It's an aluminum boat. It looks more like a Navy battleship, but it's built for open water duck hunting. They build them up in the New England or in the Chesapeake Bay area, and I know Todd spent some time in the Navy up there. And he really dialed in that diver hunting in open water, which we have a lot of that, you know, and they're very successful shooting redheads, bluebills, and all the divers in the bay. And he's got a great client base that comes down to hunt those divers down here in our bay.
Well, listen, Justin has gotten in the next stage of your career. You're still going to keep fishing, of course, but this TV show. This is really cool. Why don't we take a break now a little bit early? We're going to go ahead and take a break and then come back and talk about Justin's new television show coming up. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. See, well, Captain Justin Lee talking about his Panama City inshore business. Started, how many years ago did you start it?
In 09.
09, okay.
Whatever that was.
So fairly recently. It was just like yesterday, I think. But now we're talking about Justin's future, this television show that came about, and I'm excited for him, and I'm proud for him. So tell the folks about it.
It's called Chasing the Sun, and it's an outdoors, mainly fishing show that will be showing on the Sportsman Channel, which the Sportsman Channel is available on any cable or satellite. Some cable services, it's a standard, show that comes on. Some of them you have to have like a sports package to get the Sportsman Channel. But it'll start showing on the Sportsman Channel in January, the 1st January.
Wow, soon.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're not just a couple months away, and we'll start airing shows. And it will be on Sundays at 1:30. So right after you go to church, go eat some lunch after church, and then you can come home and see what kind of fish we're chasing here in Panama City Beach.
Oh, that's a good time, excellent time.
Yeah.
Now, so you've already got some shows, of course, in the can.
We've got most of season 1 put together, and we are still filming a little bit, doing a lot of the interview part and stuff like that. So it's the one thing going in, I have, other than here, very little TV experience, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's a lot to put together.
Yeah. I can imagine. This little rinky-dink show here is a lot of moving parts. I can imagine, getting out of the water, all the cameras and all that. And putting together a show on a national level like that. What are some of the shows y'all are doing?
We are covering just about every type of fishing in Panama City Beach. We're doing a lot of bay fishing, red fishing on the flats, which is obviously something that we do a lot of. But then we've also shown the versatility of the area. We've done some shows out there catching dolphin. It wasn't, a couple months ago, I guess, probably in September, when we had some really pretty water pushed in close, and we were only fishing 2 or 3 miles off the bay. I know you probably got tired of showing the pictures. Everybody was catching dolphin.
Great run. Wasn't that a great run?
Well, we made some good shows catching those dolphin. And, you could just, I got a tower boat, and we get out there and ride in that tower, and anything we found. And, sometimes it'd be a crab trap float. Sometimes, I know they got a lot of those bait pins out there. You'd find a float to a bait pin, and it'd be covered with them. We'd find a log floating. It didn't matter what we found, but it had fish on it at that time.
Well, you brought up a good point, Justin. We'll talk about it on the show. A lot of times, the water itself dictates what's coming in. When that clear water came in, like you said, they were just right in there with it.
Yep, that's right. It's a lot of times there's not specific spots, but it's and we try to preach this a lot. I know me and Matt do when we're talking about fishing on the flats or anything. A lot of times it's a set of conditions we look for, not a spot. A lot of people think that as a guide you have a lot of secret spots, but we don't. What we do have is a set of conditions that we've been successful in, and each day we're looking to replicate that set of conditions. Whether it's how the tide's moving around a certain area, or what the water in the Gulf looks like. Even when we're out there reef fishing, you know, sometimes you'll have really dirty water from the tide pushing out of the pass. And a lot of our fishing that we do in the Gulf is fairly close, so it is affected by the tide movement. And you can find where you got the clear water, and you know, and you'll have a certain type of fish in there. Anyways, there's always a set of conditions that I think are more important than where you're actually at.
And that's a great point you made there, and it's so true in fishing. And y'all do a good job with it. I talked to Matt when we fished at Elizabeth Bottoff Memorial Tournament. You know, that was a neat tide day. That Saturday was a week ago, and it was tough fishing for everybody. But right after lunch, things started changing. And you know, they caught that winning red about an hour before. You know, and it was like you said, he'd fished that area before, but they turn on a certain time when those conditions are right.
That's exactly right.
And we talk about it over and over again, and you hear it from, you know, when Justin's out there every day doing it. What is, okay, you got the Big Dolphin show, and what are some other shows?
We've done some different types of reef fishing. You know, the typical reef fishing that we're used to here in Panama City is we pull up, we're holding up on a spot, fire baits down, crank up. Well, this is a little niche that I guess we've tried to create in our business, is we do a lot of live chumming. We try to bring all those fish up to the surface, and we actually carried a group of wounded warriors. It's called Project Healing Waters. It's a fly fishing division, I guess, and we actually took a group of them. We do every year. Bobby McGill locally helps put it all together. And we actually carried them out there and did our normal thing, but we actually made a show out of it this year. So it's gonna be a really neat show. Us being able to take those guys out there, and then we even have guys like Todd Jones is one of our guides that is a veteran himself, and he gives up. We all donate those days and take those guys out there. And then this year it was neat to be able to put it all on film. And so I know I've talked to one of the guys that I carried in it, and he's can't wait for the show to come out. So it's neat. They're going to be able to see that. So we're fly fishing for amberjacks in that show. And that's one of those things a lot of people don't think about. But they're very aggressive. They like to come up to the surface and feed. So we've done some different stuff like that. Try to mix it up and cover every different zone. And we're working actually right now trying to put together a trip offshore on a big charter boat. So cover some of the traditional styles of fishing that you're used to seeing around here. And then we're also trying to expose some of the newer styles. Another one I'm sure you'll get a kick out of is the tarpon fishing here. Yes. And we're not at any secret spot, any destination that someone would travel to, a long ways to go to the super tarpon hotspot. We're just right out here along the beach, and we're just catching those. They catch them off the pier, and just catching those fish as they migrate through here. And that was a pretty neat show. I did that one with Steve Bachman, one of our guides. And we, it's funny the variety of fish that we saw and caught just sitting on the bar. It's amazing when you get in a quiet area, all the fish you'll see. We caught. I can't tell you all of them, but anyways, we caught a great. You have to watch the show to see, but we did. We caught a neat variety of fish that you would not expect to see right on the beach in 8 feet of water. But we sit on the anchor the whole time. We don't motor around. We don't chase fish. We get out there. We sit on the anchor. We're very patient, and we let the fish come to us. And you'll see in the show, we had good success doing it. Well,
you mentioned again patience, and we're talking about it over and over again. So many of us want to try this spot. Oh, it ain't biting here. Let's go over here. It ain't biting here. Let's go here. And that's just human nature. But you're right. Being patient.
That's right.
And let them come to you. I know we've talked about a tarpon fishery here, and it goes back to and I've talked over and over again about it in my book. And those guys, when the 20s, were catching some huge tarpon right here in North Bay. You've seen the picture.
Oh, I have. Matter of fact, that's part of probably what fostered that obsession with them, was reading all that, knowing like, man, this is my hometown. I know they're here.
You know they're here.
Yeah, people have been catching them forever. I hear all the old stories from guys, and that kind of gave me an interest in trying to rebuild that fishery here.
And Justin, it's funny how I call it a style of fishing. It's a pattern, and whatever it's like fashion clothes.
It is.
And in that era, then it went out like in the 50s and 60s, 70s, whatever. Went out, and it slowly started coming back. Same way with speckled trout and redfish. Speckled trout used to be the glory fish.
Oh yeah.
For so many years, never heard of a redfish tournament. And because you have speckled trout tournaments. Now it's flip-flop. The redfish is, is the go-to tournament fish.
Yeah.
And it just goes in cycles. But I'm so glad when you started catching those tarpon, I just got a kick out of it. I was so glad to see. And the great thing about tarpon fishing, First of all, they're fun to catch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're fun. But, catch them, release them. You might catch them again tomorrow.
Yes, exactly right.
And,
it is a very sustainable fishery.
But I bet your customers get a kick out of it.
There is nothing, to me, there's nothing better. I feel like I can speak with some authority on, I've been very, very blessed to be able to fish in a lot of neat areas, from Alaska to Central America, marlin fishing, halibut fishing, salmon fishing, you name it. I've actually got to travel a good bit and experience a lot. And I will say, that bite, if you get to sight fish tarpon in clear water where you get to see that fish bite, that bite in that first series of jumps is better than any bite in the business. And we got it right here.
I agree with you. I feel the same way about it. That's why they call it a king tarpon.
That's right.
The king tarpon.
He is the king.
And it's just a fascinating fish. So, all right, we're going to take our final break. We'll be right back with Justin. All right, welcome back. Having a good time this morning. Captain Justin Lee talking about all kinds of things. He's got a big show coming up here in January, Chasing the Sun. And I love the title of that, Chasing the Sun. So y'all going to be chasing those fish.
That's exactly right.
Let's take a look at our fishing game time today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Counts Real Estate. This morning, 3:17 to 5:17. This afternoon, 3:43 to 5:43. So a lot of y'all have off work on Monday, so try to hit those times right there. I talk every time about times and all, and you see they hit at a certain time. I'm not saying right in this period of time, because the other variables too.
No, well, you know what I was actually thinking about is those fishing game times are all based off the moon.
Right.
Well, what affects our tide movement? The moon.
That's right.
Well, that moon does play, we look at the tides, but there's more to it than just that. And I think that a lot of times our tide movement coincides with that. So that is all working together.
Yeah, it does. But then you got weather coming in, fronts coming in, and that's going to affect it. But in the woods and the water, that moon, and it's not a secret that we just discovered.
That's right.
It was known for a long time by my dad and granddad, and I know y'all did too. So anyway, let's get back to your show and tell us a little bit more about it. Then we're going to talk about red fishing.
All right, well, we've used a great variety of guides and charter boat captains in the area. That's one neat thing about how this show came together, and then we didn't get to talk that much about it, but this wasn't really an idea like I came up with. It wasn't an idea that Jamie with Bay County Outdoors is the production side of this new show, and it wasn't an idea that he really came up with. It was kind of something that the TDC here locally wanted to do. And then they kind of put the pieces together. They got Jamie on board, and let me just say, he is very professional and experienced at this. And I really feel like, we've been lucky to have him come in. He has a lot of experience. They produce some national TV shows on NBC Sports and the Sportsman Channel, and so they've got experience doing this. And then he contacted me about hosting the show. So it wasn't like an idea that we came up with. And I think if it were like that, I would probably want to keep it and, do just what I want to do, or he'd do what he wanted. But it hadn't been like that. It's been a great team effort. It's been very open to all the Panama City Beach businesses. We do a lot of filming in different restaurants out there, because this show is not just fishing. It's mostly fishing, but there will be segments on kayaking, paddleboarding, diving, all the stuff the beach has to offer. And that's really the focus of this show, is not to promote me or a business. It's to promote our area and our beaches to the country.
And we'll go back to the secrets of our area. It's the positive things we do here that keep so many things going good. A lot of negative things happen in the spring and all, and
that's right.
Bad publicity. But think about all these good things that outdoors can bring us.
Well, you look at the people we have here are unlike the people anywhere else in the state, and that's what we want to show. Is you're right. We've got some negative publicity, and none of us like that. And this is going to be the new Panama City Beach. We're going to get that out. We want to bring back those family groups.
That's right.
That is what made our tourism industry here so great. Was all these great families coming to our area and enjoying the beaches, enjoying the waters. And
I've told the story over and over again about the lady from Atlanta buying my book, and when I said, well, why are you buying it? Because I wrote it for local people. She said, when I was a little girl, I remember my parents coming, my dad fishing.
That's right.
And she said, I'm going to show my kids, and that's what we used to have.
Yeah.
And now y'all are showing. So that's wonderful. Y'all going to be showcasing. Real quick, let's talk about you banding together with getting all these local guides together. You were mentioning. You want to touch on that real quick about local guides and all your getting organization and on the red fishing?
That's right. You're right. Man, it's amazing how time flies when we're filming. I wish we had like an hour. But yeah, that is something that is new and is part of this ever-changing industry that we're in, and is the fisheries management is really done well locally. I know people are up in arms about the snapper regulations, and a lot of that's federally managed, and I would agree that there's probably a lot of mismanagement there. But I will say our FWC, our Fish and Wildlife here locally in the state of Florida, they do very good. They take public input very well, and they really work hard at trying to manage our fisheries, not for any specific user group, but for everybody. And one thing that we've put together here recently is a Panhandle Guides Association, and this is a group of guides across the Panhandle, from Pensacola to Caribou, really, that are wanting to work together to adjust some of the limits and be proactive. We've seen what happens with a lot of fisheries, from the offshore fisheries, even the inshore fisheries, that we've wiped out. Now we've done good rebuilding, like with the snapper. I mean, there was a time where we had hurt them pretty bad. Yeah. Now we've brought them back beyond probably what they ever have been. But we're trying to be proactive in some of these inshore fisheries. And it was funny you said earlier how we go through these trends in fishing. I think a lot of time it's just kind of cause and effect where, we wipe one thing out, so we go on to the next.
Wipe it out.
All right, let's wipe that out. Well, the latest thing has been the sheep's head and the redfish. That's two hot target species lately, and we're trying to get some reduction in limits, especially on the sheep's head. It's 15 a person, and that's more than most people can use. We want people to be able to keep a couple fish that they can eat fresh, but not try to deplete the species.
Yeah, we're gonna run out of time, but you're right. Well, another vulnerable fish also is the triple tail.
Oh, you're exactly right.
Those fish right there, there's just not a lot of them out there, and so they're easy to catch. And we just got to conserve as outdoorsmen. You got to conserve for the future, for our kids and grandkids and all. And I'm glad y'all are getting together to do more. And you have to come back on the show when you get time, and we'll talk about it more in detail.
You're right.
Okay?
Conservation is so important to us, and that's just something we want to stress. And we do on the new show too, on Chasing the Sun.
Okay, that's going to be on Sundays at 1:30.
That's right.
On the Sportsman Channel. Our own Captain Justin Lee. Thank you, Justin.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great day. Do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.